Anita here, and welcome to day 14 of the Inktober challenge. Today we're starting from a line art. I had a very nice morning today, just watching things, and I've decided to do the line art then, because I am at this point in my challenge where I just don't feel like doing anything anymore. And well, if I was only making pictures, I would perhaps still be going, because when I can draw whatever and whenever, then I'm happy. I am the kind of person who moves a lot. I don't like to stay constantly in my studio. I will set, camp downstairs in the living room, or I will go and create in the bedroom, things like that. And so it's actually very difficult for me to stay constantly in the studio where I have the recording set up. But I'm still enjoying making the videos. It's just constantly becoming harder, like increasingly, that's the word I'm looking for. Increasingly harder to just sit down and start recording. Because once I actually sit down and start doing my thing, then it's just going. And today, I was making it so big in my head that, oh no, I have still so much work to do. But all in all, it actually came out pretty nicely and pretty fast. So this is one of those shorter, the recording time was shorter, so once again, I didn't have to speed it up so badly. Because let's face it, the line work takes a bulk of my actual work. So moving it somewhere else was a very good decision for me. It really gave me a bit of a, I rested. I feel rested today instead of completely dead and tired. And I think I will be doing it for a while at least. So the picture we're working on today is a bee queen witch. A bee witch? It's a bee witch. I've had this time a while ago when I was drawing a lot of bees in my sketchbook, and I really, really liked just how they look like. And so I've tried making the bee design into more of a humanoid shape, where it would retain the exact same design, it would be more like a character rather than a bee. And so that's what I named the bee queen. And based on that design, I drew another one as a witch for Inktober. And so that's why you can see there is of course, the bee witch. It sounds so weird. There's the bee, and she has a lot of bees around her, and they all have the same design. That was very important to me, that they all kind of look the same, despite it's like an advanced bee, I suppose, more, evolved bee. You get where I'm coming with this, right? And I really love this design. She's very, very fluffy. All the bees are actually very fluffy. I don't know why. It's not really a bee itself. It's more like a cross between a bee, bumblebee, and whatever else was buzzing this summer in my lavender. Just my kind of imaginative bee. They're all fluffy. So I had a lot of fun drawing this design. As I've mentioned, at first I was really tired with it, and I really didn't feel like painting. And so I just started to paint in things that I knew how they should be for sure, and I didn't even know what the background would be at this point. I didn't have even an idea for a background. Like, I didn't feel like painting a background. And if you notice, there's like this tiny little shadow that's supposed to be painted in later on at the bottom of the picture, because I wasn't planning to make a background for it. Buzz, whoa, okay, we're not speaking today again. But as I was painting, I was warming up, and the painting was coming together surprisingly easy. Like, once again, I think it's just because I did the lining beforehand, and I had a little bit of a lunch situation where I just could take a break, and then I came back to the painting process. So it just got divided into parts, and it wasn't so I don't know if taxing is a good word to describe what I was feeling. It's just that it wasn't so tiring, the whole process. Because, I might make it seem like it's much more than it really is. But, it's a different thing if you're just painting those pictures for Inktober. I would paint them no problem. It's no problem, for example, on Sundays when I have to make only the picture. And when I'm done, and I have this amazing feeling like, whoa, I am done. I don't have to do anything else. I can get on with my life. But because I've decided to have the videos, that requires me to transfer all the files now from 2 devices. I'm still having fun with the angle, so I'm not really complaining. So that requires me to transfer 2 types, 2 files. Oh my God. 2 files from 2 devices and, edit the video, record the voiceover, then wait for the video to render. So I have to kind of babysit it because it takes between 2.5 to 4 hours. It depends how sped up the video is. And of course, my computer is not the best, so it has its better times and worse times. And then, of course, I have to upload it, add the descriptions and everything, make covers. It takes, it takes time. There are all those little thingies that you can't really do anything else while you're waiting. So I can, for example, leave. And if I leave, I leave for, a trip or go to town or just do something else, I have to always in the back of my head have that, the video is rendering. I have to just upload it as fast as possible. And once again, I realized as well that, it wouldn't be a big deal if I missed one or something, but I've made myself a challenge and it's important to me to follow with it because once I finish it, I will have that amazing feeling that I've accomplished something. And it's not really even, I know how that sounds, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not doing it for you. I'm actually doing it for myself because I went through this whole big, period of time where I just couldn't paint anything and I felt really down about it, all the stuff. It's not important, but it's really important for me to actually finish this challenge. So that's why I'm going with it. That's why I'm going. It already feels a bit like I'm cheating because I'm not doing the videos on Sundays. But, I also realize that I can't burn myself out. So, there is a compromise for everything. So we're having a very, very, topic today about importance of finishing challenges. Or rather, going, I don't even know. But I know that there are some tricks that I do when I don't feel, because it's natural that you're not going to feel like painting every day. That's absolutely natural, especially during a project like this, which resembles to me a lot when I'm working for a client on a bigger project. It's the same kind of feeling. You have to do it. You have a deadline. And so it's very important to realize whether or not you're able to do it and to be able to push yourself to do certain things. Because I think that's the biggest difference between a person who does things for fun, just like as a hobby. As a hobby, I remember when I was painting as a hobbyist artist, hobbyist, is that even a word? Just painting for a hobby or creating anything really for a hobby. I remember that I was changing my mind all the time, or this week I wanted to do one thing, next week I want to do something else. When I was painting, I had absolutely no problems with just putting everything away and just going away and doing something else. So without even thinking that, I should be finishing the painting, right? No, because it was my hobby. There was no really anything happening if I didn't finish it. So that's the biggest difference that I had to, not really accept. Well, I had to accept it that once I started making a living from art, I still love it because I will always love it, but it's no longer a hobby or no longer something I do for fun, because for fun, it's just something that you do because you want to. I don't always want to paint, but sometimes I have to, if that makes sense. And so challenges like this one are really good exercises to just learn how to push through certain situations where you don't really feel like doing stuff, but you have to, because you are in a challenge, the same thing, you are doing work for a client. Very similar situation. The only difference is that during a challenge, nobody pays you for it, so the additional incentive is gone. So I'm only doing it as a challenge for myself because I like challenges. Challenges are just perfect when you are, when you want to improve, but you need that extra little kick from it. And for me, it's a big kick to actually see those illustrations appearing every single day. And now I have a really neat stack of them inside a book where they are getting pressed. And, it's so nice to see all of them. And I'm already planning, I would love to do something with them. I'm actually thinking, I got a comment about it a while ago as well. And I'm thinking really, really seriously about just compiling them into some kind of little booklet or art book or something that I could sell later in my store or during conventions. It's just something, I don't know, I really love the idea. I think it would look amazing in a booklet. And that's also another thing that I had to really learn. I don't know why I'm just talking about it. I just feel like that's something on my mind. Because the more I paint, the more I realize that I stopped drawing things just because I want to draw. It bugged me for a very long time because there were certain things that I wanted to draw just because I wanted to draw them. But the longer I work, the longer I have to support myself with my own art, I realize that I can't just draw whatever I want. And there is that rule. I don't remember if I heard it in one of the Will Terry's videos or I heard it from someone else. But basically, if I can think of 3 things I could use those illustrations for, I'm not going to draw it. So that's, for example, like 3 ways to sell it somehow get money. And that's, of course, not always the case, but that's the kind of way you want to think about your art if you want to sell it. Heavy topics today, guys. I hope you don't mind me talking about it. Sometimes those topics come out of nowhere. I don't know if they just boil in my head without me even noticing it. I really don't know, but I just felt like the need to talk about it, to get it out of my system. So here I'm working on the background. As I've mentioned before, I didn't feel like working on a background in this illustration, but I just needed to have a background. I think that might also be actually why I'm talking about that whole thing I was talking about just a second ago, because I was thinking about how this illustration would relate to my other ones, to the other ones from the series, let's put it this way. And I was thinking that all of those illustrations, at a certain level, they all have a background. They all have a frame around them. And so I thought about it. If I want to add them to some kind of compilation or to make an art book, it would look amazing if they all had the same style, they all had a frame, they all had some kind of background. It doesn't have to be anything big, but I think it would look really nice. And that's when I was thinking, how can I combine the two? How can I compromise? Because as I've mentioned, I didn't feel like painting that background. So I was thinking, how can I make it fun for myself? And I thought that making just a very, very delicate tone-on-tone background, not tone-on, it's the kind that we're painting with one color. You can't go otherwise, and never mind. But I thought that just having a little bit of a shadow of maybe a garden in the background, some grass, some plants, nothing fancy, just some outlines, Very simple, just adding a little bit of detail. And when I thought about that, it just kind of all clicked together, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm just going to paint very delicate background, just some foliage, nothing really over the top, because I didn't want to make it too detailed, so that, everything will kind of, the character still needs to stand out. That was my deal. I was doing a lot of dark backgrounds lately, and I felt like making a lighter one. That was mostly the reason why I didn't want to paint the background. Part this and part the fact that I was lazy today. But this is a perfect compromise, in my opinion. And so the last thing I'm adding is just a little bit of a different shape, and I thought about adding just simple, I don't even know how to call it. It's just I'm adding some dots of various sizes and then connecting them with a bit of a line just to create a different kind of plant. So the reason why I didn't want to have a very dark background is because I'm still going to be working on the wings of this character, and I wanted them to be half transparent. The wings are pretty much the only thing in this illustration that I think I could have spent a little bit more time on. But I've realized that after I put everything away and I did all the pictures, I've taken off the tape, and I started transferring the files, and then I took a closer look at the illustration, and you will see, it doesn't really matter, but I just thought that perhaps the wings could have been a little bit more just darker, because they, in my opinion at least, they had the exact same tone as the background, maybe slightly just teensy-weensy bit darker. But I thought it could be even darker, and that's something I'll pay attention to in the future, just pay attention more about the finishing touches, because the more I'm painting in the process, the further along I am in the painting process, I tend to lose focus a lot, especially when I'm doing an illustration in one go, because it's a completely different situation when I can just walk away for an hour, come back to it, see things with a fresh eye. This is the exact situation, just seeing things with a fresh eye. Sometimes, when you take a step back from an illustration, and come back, for example, you do something completely different, eat your lunch. Is it obvious that I'm hungry? It's almost dinner time. So, and then coming back to that illustration after taking a break, you see things differently. And so while I was painting this, to me it seemed that the wings were the perfect shade. There was just a perfect shade of gray. Perfect tone. That's exactly what I wanted. They're slightly darker than the background. But when I actually stepped back from it, I did something else, and I came back to the illustration. Unfortunately, after it was finished, that's when I realized, perhaps it could have been a little bit darker. And you might be thinking, oh, she's crazy. It's not a big deal at all. And it's not. And I completely agree. For me, I will be mentioning it constantly. I like to analyze my work, and I like to think what could have been done not even better, but differently, or what can be improved in my next illustration. That's how I learn. That's how I've always improved, just learning for the future illustrations. Oh yeah, big problem I had here with the eyes. I was stuck. I didn't know how to put the little shiny bits in the eye to make it look good. I was completely stuck with it, and I think it looks good. It doesn't look like I want it to, but I think I will have to study just bug eyes a little bit better, because I was completely I was like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to put the white shiny in the eye? Yeah, but that's a side story. So, but that's it. That's it for today. I am really happy with this illustration. Much more. See? you can see it here clearly when I'm taking the tape off, and the wings are a bit too, like they're the same tone as the background. They could have been just a little bit darker. I think they would have stood out a little bit better. But all in all, I am very, very happy with this illustration. I love the bees. I just love the bee concept with the fluffy bees, the sleepy bees. They're just so cute. And I'm definitely going to be coming back to this idea again. But that's it for today, guys. There will be no video tomorrow because it's Sunday. But if you want to see the picture that I will be painting, it will be on Instagram or on Facebook, and the links are in the description as usual. So thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye!